hard loss for us. We couldn't guard them as well as we needed to in a tough game. For whatever reason, we didn't have great energy to start. That's probably on me. I got to figure that out. And obviously, we started the second half very poorly as well. But I thought we rallied through the game and played our way through the game, and through some adversity fairly well, and had a chance to win. Obviously, Chase makes a big play. They go up 5 with a minute to go, and they have some elite shot makers and players. I mean, they're starting 5, and those guys can all score, and so they put you on roller skates a little bit. We got hit on a ball screen and then rotated behind it to Danger, and he sprayed it for a 3, and then Chase got one going to the rim, and the ball went loose, and they converted in transition, and all of a sudden it's tied. And we got the ball back to our best player, and certainly would have liked to have seen him drive it, but he's made a lot of those big shots throughout his career. So unfortunately, we weren't able to fix it in overtime. Again, I thought their shot making was elite, and our inability to kind of just consistently guard them and cost us the game. So congratulations to Memphis.
Coach, their 7-footer fouled out with a few minutes left in regulations, but they're still able to get a couple big offensive rebounds in overtime.
Yeah, guards, we talked about it. Haggerty's a very good offensive rebounder. They got a couple long rebounds. Some of those happen just chased down that are, more speed or whatever, more than technique. We did have a missed block out on one of them late that Haggerty got. That was problematic. Those are things we talked about.
Were you kind of surprised weren't able to execute in key moments down the stretch there?
I think I'd have to look at all of it again. When your best player is at the rim, could be a foul, could be a shot. He could spray it out. Zachary was open for a spray out, but you're trusting your best player. We called a timeout and Chase got a wide open 3 with 15 seconds to tie the game. He missed it. There's no execution there. It's a missed shot. Those are both not execution. Those are decisions or shot making. Those are different than execution. There were certainly some things we could have done better down the stretch. We didn't do some of the things right. Defensively, we got hit too much on some screens, and that put us in 2-on-1 too much. And again, elite shot makers, smart players too. They're very smart. They space you. And when you overhelp at all, the ball's kicked and they're shooting tough shots. And there was some elite shooting by 11 and 3 today.
You mentioned the shot making, but the rebounding feels like it was also part of it. 34-33 advantage for Memphis in this game.
I think sometimes media folks look at the rebounding like that. I'm looking, we had 12 offensive rebounds, they had 10. Mm-hmm. So that's 2 extra possessions for us. They had 16 turnovers, we had 13. That's 3 extra possessions for us. So I don't. The boards were fine. I think it was either way. Moses Cisa hurt us a little bit. Haggerty hurt us. We talked about all those things, and we got 12, they got 10. That's part of the game. I don't think that was the determining factor in the game.
Did they do anything special to Ian because he finishes with 6 rebounds?
I have to see that, right? They obviously somebody did a good job blocking him out. Jourdain, I really like Jourdain as a player. I just think he's a really smart, do what your team needs. I'm sure he did a great job blocking out. They played the 2 bigs some, and so now they've got Danger, who's huge and long, and Cisa in there together, and so now there's big bodies competing, and there's not as much space. They did a terrific job, keeping Ian. Ian only had 2 offensive rebounds today.
Encouraging to see Zachary hit a couple of big threes end of regulation and overtime.
Yeah. They really tried to top block Chase and take some of Chase's things away, and that was some of the things that they gave up. And obviously Jaden's a very good shooter, and so we're happy to see him. I guess he made 3 out of 4 today. Yeah.
When you're trying to figure out why y'all are a step slow early, is it kind of confounding just given that you have time?
You're just not going to play great at the beginning of every game now. mean, these are 18 to 22-year-old guys. NBA guys don't do it either. Like, it's just, some of it is, I got to go back and watch. I mean, some of it is adjusting to their pace, maybe the tempo. You know, it just felt like we weren't quite have as much juice. Is it 11 a.m.? I don't know. Combination of a lot of things. We're not making a shot, so we're not getting any energy off of our shooting. We had a hard time scoring early, kind of figuring it out. You know, they do so many different things defensively that as a coach, you're not 100% sure what you're playing against. And so you're trying to figure it out as the game goes. I thought we did a better job of that. But at the beginning, we probably didn't look like we knew exactly what they were doing. And again, I got to go back and remember and watch some of the film to see. But give their team and kids credit. They came in here, you know, and played very well for long periods of time.
At the end of the first half, you built some momentum. You had the lead and the ball, timeout, inbounds, had trouble getting the ball, and was that just really good defense?
It was really good defense, and it was, you know, poor coaching. We had one thing we were going to run, and then we changed it at the timeout, and, you know, we didn't execute that well. I think Chase could have come to the ball and got it when I went back and looked at it at halftime, but, you know, he kind of got knocked off his cut a little bit. He was a little bit of a soft cut, and terrible play. You know, that's on me. So that's my fault. I got to do better on that.
Hey, Brad, when the team's been kind of as inconsistent as Memphis has been, is it almost hard to know what you're preparing for, whether it's the team that went to Maui and kind of shocked the world, or the one that lost to Arkansas State?
Yeah, I disagree. I think, again, not to pick on you guys, but I think you guys all see what you want to see. Like, Arkansas State's really good. I watched the film. Like, they're 8-3, and no, they probably shouldn't go to Memphis and win, and Memphis did not play well. But some of that's Arkansas State. And I also think, like, their guys are 18 to 22, and they're not going to play great every night either. And so there's going to be a night when you don't make a couple shots, maybe make a decision that's bad or two. Maybe somebody does something schematically that puts you on your heels for a second you haven't seen. You got to figure it out through the game, and that happens. And I'm sure if you look at it, people are asking UConn the same thing with Memphis winning, and Michigan State, and San Francisco is a really good team, to go there and beat them at their place, to beat Clemson at our place. Like, that's a really good team. They're playing a hell of a schedule, and so for them to lose one or two, like, that's probably going to happen if you want them to keep playing hard teams. And but today they played better than we did, and coached better than we did, and they did a great job. It's a great win for them.
Were you asking about the shot clock on that loose ball?
Yeah, too. I still, the one where Vic hit it, and I guess they said he was in the front court. I couldn't tell. It looked like he was close to the line. The 10-second one, is that what you're asking about?
The scramble on the. Yeah,
Oh, and then the scramble play. I
Shot
guess he
clock
had
was at
possession, and I didn't. They said he had possession. I guess the clock was still under 30 or whatnot, so it wouldn't have been a shot clock violation anyway. Is what he kind of told me quickly. You know, I'm disappointed. That should have been, Victor should have called timeout. Like, you're diving on the ball, just timeout. I was screaming timeout, but.
And you didn't want them to set their defense, I guess, on the last of regulation there. Is that why you didn't? On the last possession of regulation with Chase.
Yeah, but you know, they were changing defenses all the time. It's like you call timeout, come to half. I mean, everybody thinks that's like you got a magic play over there all the time that's going to work. Like, our best player got the ball, dribbled to the three-point line, and shot it. You know, in the overtime, and then in the other time, he got the ball and he's standing out there and can go by the guy, make a play, do what he wants. They would have probably doubled him. They would have played zone. They would have trapped the first pass. They weren't going to let us do what we wanted to do in that timeout. Believe me. So we just played, and I would love to have seen Chase drive it, but I'll live with his decisions.
There are other guys that stepped up today, but you held Haggerty to 10 points in regulation. Was there a big emphasis on him going into the game?
Yeah, but that's what's hard. I mean, there's an emphasis on Haggerty. There's an emphasis on Colby Rogers shooting. There's an emphasis on Tyrese Hunter shooting. You know, there's an emphasis on Dane Danger one-on-one. I mean, those dudes they're all guys that can go get 25. Okay, we did a decent job on two, and two really hurt us. And, you know, and that's why they're good. I mean, those are big time. They made some big time shots. I mean, under pressure, like they gotta make it or the game's over, they make them, you know, make them in overtime. I mean, there's a reason why they've beaten some of the teams they've beaten. They're very good, and their guys are confident players.
What did they do in particular to keep Ian off the glass there? I think he had 5
Yeah,
rebounds
I don't,
in there.
yeah, somebody else kinda asked, I'm not 100% sure, like, you know, the defensive rebounding, that's the one that is, you know, more curious as to why that was. I don't know if he was not around the rim as much, maybe he's out guarding on the perimeter a little bit more, because usually he's gonna get 8 or 10 defensive rebounds, he didn't today. He got 2 offensive, and I think some of it was they had 2 big guys in there for a while. You know, I think Jourdain is a good player, I think he's a smart player, I think he probably did a good job blocking out. But I'd have to watch that to know all those things.
Any more questions for Coach?
I guess the South Carolina game now,
Yeah,
close the
tough
non-conference
turnaround. Yeah.
schedule. How important is that game to?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big game, obviously, for a lot of reasons. It's the next game, it's a rivalry game, they're a good team, it's on the road. I just told my team that, like, we're gonna find out what we're made of. This was a, you know, our locker room wasn't very good right now, as you would expect. There's a lot of guys that feel bad. And now somehow you gotta rally the troops. It's a little bit different than the Miami game, but that's what happens in basketball. You have these quick turnarounds with emotional highs or lows that follow, and you really don't have much time to, like, you know, adjust. You got to get on with it. And, you know, that'll be a real challenge for us, is to muster up the energy and enthusiasm and get ourselves, lick our wounds a little bit. And we're going to have to go play really good basketball. We're going to have to play well. You can't just compete. You're going to have to execute to win.
It was an early tip today, student body gone, but pretty good crowd anyway today, right?
Yeah, I know we had a student group come, that was great. Young students at one school come and did some $10 tickets that helped fill some of the student seats, which I think is important. Yeah, we had a good crowd. It was a good crowd today. They tried to help us. We didn't do enough to make it as loud as it needed to be to win. Okay, thanks everybody.
Thank you.